This is TWiT.
We should talk about I know you talked about your new iPad over on the screensavers.
Oh, man. I have to say I love this thing.
I also love mine. I've been using it I always say I'm going to replace my laptop, but it's pretty easy to replace my laptop. I can connect it to my big monitor.
Yeah, you could. This Type-C port, they put a USB 3.1 connector instead of Lightning on the side of these, which I know kind of perturbs some people because we all have investments in Lightning dongles and all this. I happen to have a Type-C headphone jack dongle from my Google phone, but it works. The good news is, unlike Lightning, this is a standard port that appears on many, many devices. I can charge my iPad now with adapters for many laptops, of course, for the Apple laptops. You get data out of this, so we were able to get, for instance, connected. In fact, you're connected to an audio DAC, a digital to analog converter, that takes the data, the bits out of the USB connector and puts it and converts it to analog so you can plug in a headphone jack. That gives you a much higher quality audio out than just an analog out. So that's what I'm doing, which is basically a converter. So that's awesome.
So that's why we're not using. Someone on Twitter said, "Just why aren't you using the Apple USB-C to auxiliary?" Is that sound not as good?
Well, that's what I'm using, except it's not from Apple. Apple does sell these, but this one's from Google. But it's the same thing.
Okay,
it's a standard port. Now, I have to point out, and we were a little surprised by this, FaceTime does not put audio out this port in any way, which is really an oversight because, of course, people who use FaceTime can't use headphone jacks anymore, and you can't use this to do FaceTime. You'll have to either use your AirPods. We used AirPlay to get my mom's audio out, but otherwise it comes through the speakers. This is really, I don't know if it's an oversight on Apple's part or if it's intended behavior, but it's very disappointing. Mm-hmm. This should be, it's capable of doing everything a headphone jack could do, but in the case of some software, at least Apple's own FaceTime, it does not. And that's wrong. You cannot connect an external hard drive to this, but you can connect a camera. And in fact, I was able to import my pictures, raw pictures, into Lightroom faster than I've ever seen before, because really the real story about these new iPads is the A12X Bionic chip in here. This is faster, as Apple said, than 92% of all laptops sold this year, and I'll vouch for that. It's way faster than iOS needs. Mm-hmm. It is mind-boggling. And if I have any complaint at all about the iPads, is that this is state-of-the-art, future hardware. This pencil, the processor in here, the screen, that is running essentially iPhone software from 10 years ago. The apps need to be updated. This is Adobe's Lightroom, and it's a little, you can do a lot of Lightroom-y stuff in here pretty well. Look how beautiful this screen is. So for some processing, like if you're a photographer, you might be able to use this for your raw processing, but you still need a desktop, I think, on the other end. If you're a writer, yeah, you can use it to write. You can use it to take notes. It certainly will do that, but I don't think it's as easy to edit text, even if you have the keyboard, which is another $200 on my 12.9-inch. It's not as easy to edit text as it is on a laptop. What do you do that you think this, what could you... You're coloring. It's good for coloring.
Well, I take out Procreate every time we get a new iPad, and I think, I am going to be an artist.
Yeah, that's how I draw, too. It is amazing.
I made some
this
stuff.
This new pencil is a huge improvement. I'll show you what I made. I made something.
But have you been using the gestures on here? So, like, I can double tap and... erase. That's erase because I have a background layer. That's why it's not
so
white.
The default is, and by the way, we found out from Renee Ritchie, I assumed that there was an accelerometer in this pencil detecting the taps. It's not. So you don't have to tap hard, just touch it. Oh. It's gestures. And in fact, that means potentially this could do more than just 2 taps. Mm. And the default on most devices, and you'll see it's switching as I tap it, the default on most devices is to switch back and forth between drawing and eraser, but that's completely programmable. And so apps could do something else, and you can even do settings on Procreate and other tools to make it do other things. So there is one gesture right now, and that's double tapping on the flat side. But that's
to make it erase.
To make it, make it erase or do something else because it can. Yours is almost as good as mine.
Yeah, I'm more on the abstract side.
I did puffy little Bob Ross trees.
Let's see what you did. Let's see yours over there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I am more. This is sort of more.
We're not artists. If you're an artist, this makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
I think, right?
This is, well, I don't know. I feel like I'm an artist.
No,
This
you're
is
not.
what my soul looks like inside. This is, yeah.
Big purple ball, a
But
big purple dandelion.
it's very meditative.
Yeah, you know, my trainer at the gym, who's been in a very stressful situation of late, has been using the coloring books, and he loves the pencil and the coloring book.
Oh.
He likes to spend long hours coloring, so that would be good. I'm hoping, and Renee Ritchie said there's a rumor that Apple wanted to get more, I don't want to say desktop, but more powerful computing capabilities into this iOS 12 and couldn't in time, so it will be in iOS 13. There is multitasking, so it's very limited, though. You have to really, to do it properly. Let's say I want to pull up something while I'm in my notes, right? And I'll create a new note here. It has to be in the dock. I can't get out of notes and then put something in the, you know. Yeah, okay, I can do that, and maybe I could take my photos and slide it over here, so I have some photos that I can put in the notes. But it's very limited, and you also have limited space in the dock. But in order to do this multitasking, you kind of have to have the thing in the dock. There's also some cool stuff. For instance, I can slide this off screen to type notes and then slide it back on, so it kind of is persistent. And then, of course, you can make it be split screen. I always have trouble doing this by dragging it down, and now it's split screen, and you can vary the sizes. So there's some okay multitasking, but it's highly limited. And my general sense is you've got this amazing hardware, this mind-boggling hardware that is in many respects better than a desktop computer, certainly the future of computing, but it's hobbled by iOS and the apps available to it. And I do hope that comes along pretty quickly. Otherwise, we've spent laptop money to draw your soul and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see, you think you can do, is it as easy to do the work you do on this as it is on a laptop?
So far it is. So far the only thing really holding me back is the muscle memory. But I multitask with Command Tab. Like, that's how I get around through stuff. So that's the same way I do
the keyboard
on my
is great. I mean,
laptop. Yeah,
you have to buy that $200 keyboard and the $129 pencil, because then it makes it sort of the laptop. Steven Sinofsky, the guy who created Windows 8 and left Microsoft in disgrace afterwards, tweeted a long tweet storm about how the reason people like me don't appreciate the iPad is we're stuck in the old paradigm of computing, and that kids today growing up with tablets will feel like this is a full-blown computer. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think from productivity point of view, it's not quite there. If I were a writer, I probably would prefer a laptop to write. Right?
I know I've been doing some writing on here, and I got this tip from Jason Snell. He likes to put it in portrait mode because it feels like a piece of paper. So, I've been writing. And
he also says he does his podcast on there, and podcast audio editing and video editing you can do on it.
I love Face ID on this. I've had it's opened every time.
Love it.
Do you think it saves the information from your iPhone Face ID?
No. You have to retrain it.
I know. Okay, so that's not why it's so good. Because
in fact, Apple's very clear that the biometric information never leaves the phone. It's stored in the T2 secure enclave on the phone or on the, there's no T2 on the phone, but on the iPad it's stored in a secure enclave. And that should not ever be transmitted over the internet. That would be a real security issue. You don't want any, because you can't change your fingerprint, you can't change your iris, you can't change how your face looks. Well, you could, but so the idea is
cutting my hair after.
Unlike a password, which if it's breached, you can be changed. These biometric information really has to be protected much more securely because you can't change it easily, right? Or at all in some cases. I think if you're a photographer and the workflow suits you, or a videographer and the workflow suits you, or an artist or a writer and the workflow suits you, for those tasks, it's fine. But it is, to me, I still am going to end up using, to me, this is not going to replace a laptop, but it costs as much as a laptop. And I don't know how people I mean, Apple really obviously thinks you should own it all. You should have a watch, you should have a phone, you should have an iPad, and you should have a MacBook. Probably you should have an iMac as well. And, you know, collect all 10. Apple makes a lot of money, and everybody's happy. And if money weren't an object, that would be the right answer. You know, just buy everything, and then you use the tool that's right for the job. This is a hammer that isn't a very good screwdriver. And I think you kind of have to jump through hoops to use it for productivity in ways that you don't with a desktop or a laptop computer. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but it is, I love how portable it is as well. Like I've been bringing it places.
It's a work of art. Let's just face it. I mean, this thing is amazing. If you disconnect it, you fold it up. It's a folio size. I like the new folio keyboard because it finally protects the back. It feels good. It's a decent keyboard. I love the way this pencil is charges on the magnetized strip here. You know, you're gonna it won't shake off, but when you put it in a case, it's easy to roll it off. So I would, you know, you probably shouldn't trust this 100%. This is going to be an easy pencil to lose if you put it in a briefcase or a purse. I got the 12.9. I like. Go ahead. Just, you know, I know you're going to want it, but just take
yeah.
You'd think it'd be better for productivity because of the bigger screen. I mean, that's the size of the MacBook Air screen.
But it does. I do like how easily this fits in my purse.
Yeah.
And this doesn't fall off my purse like the Surface Book pen. Always, the Surface pen would fall off in my purse. This hasn't fallen off.
Okay. Okay. It does. I like the flat side. I like the fact that it says Dream Girl on it.
Oh, yeah. You got that right. A lot of people were worried that you got the comma in the wrong place, but you went back.
I went back and changed it. I canceled the order. Yours, it's hard to see because it's so tiny. Yours says Dream, period. Is it comma? Yeah, Dream, comma, girl. And, of course, I couldn't leave it alone, so mine says Dream, comma, boy.